Hi there, this is Solitary Ronin from Solitary Ronin Films, and welcome to another episode of In the Frame. Today, seeing it's coming up for Halloween at the end of this month, I thought I'd show off some of my favourite romantic films. Obviously, this is not an exhaustive list of every single romantic film that I have, but these are some of my favourites. So let's start with Blackula. This is the story of a man who is cursed by a terrible human being, Count Dracula, and is forced to live his life as a vampire, and he is searching eons for his wife, and when he finds someone who looks a little like his wife in LA in the 70s, he tries to win her over and win her back. I find this film extremely romantic, and the ending is quite moving, and it certainly is one of my favourite romantic films of all time. Next is The Age of Innocence, which is probably my favourite Martin Scorsese film. It might actually be his best. This is so romantic as Daniel Day-Lewis really wants to touch the gloves of Michelle Pfeiffer, but the society that he's in, with his seemingly innocent little wife Winona Ryder, he can never quite get what he wants, and Michelle Pfeiffer can never get what she wants, and it really is a wonderfully romantic film and really contains a lot of lessons about life and love, the fact you'll never actually be happy and you'll never actually get what you want. Age of Innocence, that's another wonderful romantic film. Next is David Cronenberg's The Dead Zone, which is overpoweringly, I can't even say because it's just so romantic. This is the new imprint Blu-ray from Australasia, which actually has a ton of new extras, which the German Blu-ray that I had didn't have. It has a commentary by Stephen Jones and Kim Newman, sadly not a commentary by Cronenberg himself. And it's got brand new interviews from 2021 with cinematographer, music engineer, composer talking about Michael Kamen's score, a documentary about adapting Stephen King, which is absolutely wonderful, and there's a essay between the character Frank Dodd in The Dead Zone and Cujo, and there's 4 featurettes. There's vintage interviews with Cronenberg, and there's an interview with Stephen King. So I kind of had to get it because I do love this film. It might not be a personal Cronenberg film, but it was the film he kind of needed after Videodrome. And it's just so romantic. Christopher Walken, Brooke Adams, they're going to get married, and then Christopher Walken hits a milk truck, goes into a coma for 5 years. Brooke Adams moves on, even though she's now married with a child to an obvious moron. She cruelly kind of comes back and sees Christopher Walken's character Johnny, has sex with him, and then goes, oh, we have to never see each other again, which is a bit cruel, but I guess that's love. And in the end of the film, just as he dies, she gives him another reminder of what she actually feels about him. It's so cruel. It's one of the cruelest films ever made, but also romantic. And again, a great symbol of you'll never be happy and you'll never get what you want. Next, along the same lines, it's Cronenberg again with The Fly. Familiar story. Boy meets girl, boy meets fly, fly meets boy, boy falls apart, girl cries. And if that's not a metaphor for romance, I don't know what is. Black Narcissus, another one about falling in love with a man wearing shorts and falling for a very seductive wind. Kathleen Byron goes full psycho for David Farrar shorts, and who wouldn't? Wonderful romance there, the destructive side of romance. Here we have Laura, with Jean Tierney and Dana Andrews. Dana Andrews falls in love with a corpse. Yep, love comes in all shapes and sizes, folks. And next, I Wake Up Screaming with Laird Krieger and Betty Grable and Victor Mature. Don't know why Laird Krieger's not actually on the title, the cover. It's ridiculous. And Laird Krieger stars as a detective who's perhaps got a little unhealthy love for a dead girl. Again, you can't control love, apparently. You can use gels and creams, but you can't completely control it. Next is Elio Petrie's The 10th Victim, with Ursula Andress's Gunfire Bra. Ursula Andress and Mastroianni are desperately trying to kill each other, but there's a bond that forms, because after all, when you're in a relationship and you're in love, do you not want to kill each other anyway? So, The 10th Victim, that's a wonderful romantic film. Next is Creme de la Creme, The Third Man, about fancying your dead friend's girl, but perhaps not being reciprocated, because she still holds a candle for Orson Welles for some reason. Who wouldn't? And you're more likely to get pecked on the finger by a parrot than have a happy ending with Alida Valli, which again is a metaphor for life itself. Next, another really romantic film, 30 Days of Night, with Josh Hartnett and Melissa George. They're an estranged couple, and there's real tension. You don't really know why they're kind of falling out with each other, but they're thrown together, the background of psychotic vampires, but together they kind of realise what they've been missing. Obviously it doesn't end well, very much like life itself, because in relationships usually one person dies before the other, unless you're both killed in a bizarre gardening accident. Next, another romantic film is Takashi Miike's Audition, or Audition, which is a wonderful little romantic drama about deception and torture, which again, let's be honest, most relationships are built on deception and torture. That's torture and deception. Next, you knew it'd be in here, one of the greatest films of all time about the single scene, how to get a partner, if you've split up with your partner, and Lanthimos's Lobster sends you to a wonderful island. You've got 45 days to find a mate amongst other single people, and if you don't, you get turned into the animal of your choice. It's kind of like Tinder, but slightly more realistic. Next, we've all fallen in love with an animate object. This is Mannequin. Yes, there's perhaps no real sane reason for liking Mannequin, apart from it's better than Mannequin 2. I've always had a soft spot for Mannequin. I actually saw this in the cinema, and ever since I've seen this, I've been walking around department stores rubbing against mannequins in the hope that one of them will turn into Kim Cattrall. So far, that hasn't happened. Next is Elijah Wood in Maniac. I prefer this to the William Lustig one. I know that's sacrilege to some people. Again, this is mother issues involving scalping women, and the line between fantasy and reality. It's more mannequins and scalpings, and it's really romantic. Next, it's Last Year in Marienbad, one of the greatest films about anything you like, really. It's about love and romance, it's about time travel, it's about space, it's about the afterlife, it's about so much stuff. This is a classic example of you have a weekend with a woman, and then when you go back and see her, she ignores you and pretends that you've never actually met before, and you spend a weekend chasing her about and pestering her, desperate to say, we did actually see each other last year and we agreed that we would see each other in a year, and by that time you'll leave your husband. We've all done it. Next, love comes in all shapes and sizes, and life and love has lots of surprises. It's Neil Jordan's The Crying Game. Again, it's about fancying the girlfriend of somebody you had a hand in their death, and somehow through guilt you end up fancying their girlfriend. Sure, we've all done it, and then you get a surprise. Next, Jack Becker's Cast Door, which is a wonderfully romantic tale with an amazing happy ending. Everybody walks off into the sunset very happy, and you'll go home after watching it, if you're watching it in somebody else's house, with a sheer glow of joy. Next is Takeshi Kitano's Hanabi, a wonderfully romantic tale about looking after your wife and making sure that she gets a proper send-off. It's tremendously romantic. Next is Terry Gilliam's Brazil. It has perhaps some necrophilia. Again, it's all about the romance in your mind, the fantasy in your mind, whether that matches reality or not. The problem with dream women is they don't tend to exist when you actually wake up. I know Bill Gates is working on that, but so far that's how it goes, and it certainly goes like that for Jonathan Pryce. But it's a tremendously romantic film. Next is Tsukamoto's A Snake of June. This is about the lengths that romance will go to perhaps get somebody out of their shell to become a whole new, different kind of lover. And Snake of June shows that in a wonderful, caring and very moving and romantic way. Next is Jodorowsky's Santa Sangre. This is the special edition 4K, even though I don't have 4K capabilities at the moment. I'm Jodorowsky future-proofing myself. But this is wonderfully romantic. The relationship between the son and the little mute girl from the circus is quite moving and quite romantic. And again, the ending is so powerful and so moving in a very romantic way. Next is Truffaut's turn, and this is The Woman Next Door with the wonderful Fanny Ardant and Gerard Depardieu. This is a wonderfully romantic tale of how fancying somebody who lives next door to you can destroy two families, not just one. That's a cautionary tale, but it's done in a wonderfully romantic way. Next is The Good, the Bad and Ugly, which is so romantic between three men who would quite happily kill each other, but also are secretly in love with each other. Granted, they're probably in love with gold slightly more, but it's the classic bromance film featuring cowboys. Next is Hal Hartley's Flirt. This is the same 20-minute script done 3 times, about a flirt who's quite dangerous. So it's shot in New York, Berlin and Tokyo with the same script with different cast. So one's a man, one's a gay man, and one's a woman. And it's playful and it's pretty awesome. If you love Hal Hartley, you'll love Flirt. If you don't, you probably won't. Bill Sage, Dwight Ewell, Martin Donovan, Parker Posey, lots of Hal Hartley regulars. It's an absolute blast, if you like that kind of thing, obviously. And finally, a wonderfully romantic film, Paris, Texas by Wim Wenders. Harry Dean Stanton is wonderful as always. Again, it's proof in the pudding, if proof be need be. That love in life is just so wonderful and excellent, and everything works out and everybody's happy at the end. So that's just a selection of some of my favourite romantic films, seeing it's Halloween. So please let me know in the comments below, what are your favourite romantic films and why? And hopefully you'll join me again for more In the Frame episodes. This is Saoirse Ronan from Saoirse Ronan Films, saying cheerio.